Welcome to Saving the Association. We have an incredible guest with us today, Chris Childs, former New York Knick, and a lot of people may not know, CBA player, Boise State Bronco, New Jersey Net. This guy is, he's got an incredible story and a great path from going undrafted to making it in the league and having a very prominent career. We're excited to have you today, Chris. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, but don't forget the Toronto Raptors as well.
I was gonna say something, Tanner. It's like you left off the Raptors.
Hey, not intentionally, guys. Just
No.
that's on me. Chris, we're excited to chat a little bit. You are a California guy growing up, and then you went to school in Idaho. Brett and I are both Idaho natives, and then you from there graduated from Boise State and made it into the NBA eventually. But we'll get into some of your favorites as far as your own fandom goes in a segment we like to call Full Court Press.
It's on.
Okay, let's go.
So Brett and I in high school, I played guard. Brett's a bigger dude, so he played forward and center. He was standing at half court for a lot of these presses, and we had a lot of experience there. We want to know, who was your favorite team growing up?
Oh man, as weird as it is, being from California, I was a Philadelphia 76ers fan, Dr.
Oh.
J. Even though Magic was, came later, everybody wanted to do the move that Dr. J went behind the backboard and laid it up. So I was a big Dr. J fan, and just the way he carried himself. But then when Magic came to the Lakers with Showtime, I enjoyed that. But Dr. J early on, and then Magic.
That's great. Yeah, Dr. J was super smooth. Who's your favorite player in the league right now?
Oh man, that's really. I'm gonna have to go with Jalen Brunson. He's a
Solid.
Knick. He's a Knick. I have to go with him. But there's it's so much talent in the league. It's hard. I would pick Shea, but you can't touch him. The kid from Oklahoma City, you can't touch him, and he falls down a lot. And so I would pick him, but I would have to go with my own with Jalen Brunson.
That's great.
I think Brett's going to want you to come on each week because he feels very similarly
That's
about
been
it.
one of my biggest complaints. He's a great guy, great player, but I was like, come on, just don't fall so much. But
Yeah, everything. Like, come on, man. You 6'6". You're not getting hit that hard, but that's the way the league is. And these guys, all they have to do is jerk their head back, and the ref calls a foul. So
yeah,
and that's
Yeah.
one reason why I can't watch a whole game.
Okay, the fouls
Can't-
is an issue for you?
The fouls, going back and looking at the flagrant fouls,
Yeah.
I can't stand it. It gets boring. I start channel surfing, and then I'll come back to a game, then I'll turn it off. There's another foul, so there's another 5 minutes. So
Yeah.
it gets pretty boring.
Well, how much of that do you think is a product of our shorter attention span versus the game having a lot of unnecessary stops for momentum's sake?
It's both, because you have so many things you can watch. You can stream stuff. You can watch movies. There's so many things you can watch. But initially, the NBA is a fast-paced game. So if you slow it down by checking every foul, if it's a flagrant, then that takes away from the beauty of the game. Why do you have 3 referees if you can't see what happened? Get a
Yeah.
4th referee if you need be, so you get 2 at one end, 2 at the other end. But let's keep the pace of the game going, because it's slowing down. It's
Yeah,
not
it can't-
baseball.
It definitely takes away from, I think, the spirit of the game, how it's supposed to be fast moving and just a flow of constant movement. But yeah.
Yeah, right. The purity of what everybody enjoys. Now it's like ballet dancers. Nothing against ballet, but the beauty of the game and the fast pace, the physicalness of the game. We're football players without pads on. Really,
Mhm.
that's where it should be. But now they're out there playing flag football.
Yeah. And ironically, you mentioned baseball. They've actually implemented something with a pitch clock that speeds up the game, right? So kind of funny how that works.
And that's the game I grew up on. I was a baseball player before a basketball player, and I loved baseball. Ricky Henderson was my favorite baseball player of all time. And to watch these pitch count, you gotta, if you're in the batter's box, if you have to be in the batter's box at a certain time, you can't stand out the bat. So it's just too much.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Let's keep it moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's walk back to your playing days for just a minute here. Who was a guy that you were most proud of having a good game against?
In the NBA,
Yeah.
well, it's probably the team, the favorite teams, the most popular team, especially when we would play the Lakers. I'm going back home and I got fans, friends, family, and everybody at the game. So I enjoy playing well in LA. I enjoy playing well in Oakland, where my mother's side of the family's from. Uh, and of course, playing against, the best players, playing against Michael, AI, Kobe, uh, Rod Strickland, all the greats. Scotty, because Scotty guarded me. I'm like, once you guard a forward, you're 6'9", and he's picking me up full court. I'm like, damn, go guard somebody else. But yeah,
That's great. So whether offensively or defensively, who was that guy that had your number every time you played him? Like he either always had a good game or he always shut you down.
wow. It was most like easy to say Jordan, but I I had a harder time guarding Allen Iverson than I did Jordan.
Hmm. What about
Because
Iverson made that difficult? Like what was really tricky with Iverson?
well, you couldn't touch him, one, but he was so shifty and fast. And if he's hitting the jump shot, then he's almost impossible to guard. You just have to hope he has an off night. But once they changed the rules where you couldn't put a forearm or a hand on him, he went to the free throw line 12 to 15 times a game.
Mm-hmm.
So if he makes 10 of those or 12 of those, that's 12 points. 8 field goals, that's 16. So he gets 28 points already.
Yeah.
So that made it difficult. And then another one was probably Rod Strickland was a handful
Mm.
because he was my size. He had wide shoulders. He knew how to use his body. He had an unbelievable in and out dribble. And he was just one of the, he was Kyrie before Kyrie,
Yeah.
where he finished so good at the basket. And Kyrie said that he mimicked his game after Rod Strickland. So they were some of the tougher guards to play against.
Yeah, Rod's one of those really underrated all-time kind of guys. I remember Derrick Rose had a really, he was kind of his hero too, in terms of how he modeled his game and stuff like that. He was just really good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
him and I became good friends after. Well, we got drafted at the same time,
Mm.
and when we were at the pre-draft camp in Chicago, we became close and good friends. And when I spoke to him, I think he was at forget what I think it was with Penny at Memphis. I'm not 100% sure, but we spoke over the phone, and I told him that him and Terrell Brandon and what's the other guy's name? Kevin Johnson are three of the most underrated guards to ever play the game that guys don't really talk about, and that
Yeah.
I thought were hell of a players.
Yeah. You don't hear Rod's name enough, actually. There's a few guys looking back that I don't think this generation of sports or basketball fans really talks about and recognizes for sure.
And let me bring up one more. They don't talk about how great Steve Nash was.
No.
Yeah.
And I was watching. I could watch old films, so I'm going through stuff and I'm looking at Steve Nash, and the shots that he would get off against taller players were unbelievable. His balance, as always getting back to the perfect form of shooting, was pretty special to watch. And so I know Shaq is pissed, and that's my buddy, that he didn't win the MVP, that Nash shouldn't have won too. But I can see why
Yeah.
they thought that he was MVP, because Steve Nash was a hell of a player.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nash was nice and He kind of pioneered some of the unorthodox shots in the paint, keeping the dribble alive through, that growing up. I feel like if I drove the lane and went underneath the basket and then kept dribbling out to the 3-point line, my coach would have freaked out. But Steve saw these passing angles and he talks about his hockey experience from when he got underneath the hoop, and then his line of vision was so much different and he could see behind defenders, and now he had all these angles to make passes. And there's a lot of brilliance to what he did, and it didn't look like the traditional point guard play. And maybe you saw that in watching him too.
Yeah, I mean, that you were never taught to drive underneath the basket. It's like if you're underneath the basket, kick it out because somebody's on the wing or in the corner. But he would go stop, come back out the other way and shoot from behind the backboard because the big guy couldn't defend. He used the backboard, to his advantage. So he was a special player.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. What would you say your welcome to the league moment was?
That's funny. I I was with the New Jersey Nets, and I was probably 12th man at the time, free agent. Wasn't getting any time, and so I used the practice like, look, I'm gonna make them play me. They had Kenny Anderson uh, and David Wesley,
Mhm.
and I told David, I say, if you're not ready to practice, don't come because this is my job. I'm taking your spot. And after the third practice, they cut him. I mean, they traded him and put me in the rotation. And so we're playing the Bulls, and Butch Beard was my coach. Had Butch Beard, Stan Albeck, Paul Silas, and Jerry Eves. And Butch calls me in. It's like, you got Michael because of playing defense. I'm not a 19-year-old rookie. I'm a 25-year-old rookie. And so I'm like, shit, okay, let's go. And so Michael looks at Paul Silas and was like, what he gonna do with me? And and Paul was like, just wait and find out. And so they gave the ball to Michael in the post, and I'm pushing him off. And I say, I don't want a double. Don't double team. And he looked and turned around and shot a fadeaway and said, welcome to the league, and called me a B. It burnt me because one, I don't like using that word. All right. Especially towards me, who's a man. And so I got the ball. I didn't call a play. I just went straight at Michael, went to the basket, finished, and won. And I said, you're going to see this B all game long. And, and so that started a little small rivalry between myself and MJ.
Oh, that's awesome.
I
That's
love
great.
that.
Was there a player when you got into the league that you were just starstruck by? Is there someone that just you were almost like a fanboy when you first saw them?
Not really. I was amazed at how tall these guys were and how athletic they were.
Mm.
Like I said, Scottie Pippen was 6'9", handling the ball, and he was picking me up full court. That was impressive. To see Manute Bol at
Mm.
7'7",
Mm.
George Mirazon 7'5", Mark Eaton 7'4", Ralph Sampson 7'4". I mean, these guys were huge. And then I'm playing the 1 and the 2. So I'm 6'3". I'm guarding 6'9", 6'8", 6'7", two guards. So just the skill level of guys at that height back then and the physicality of the game it was amazing, and there wasn't any fouls called. I got these two front teeth knocked out by Dikembe Mutombo,
Mm.
and they didn't call a foul. And so he and Patrick Ewing were friends, and when he came in the locker room, he acted like he didn't see me. And so I picked up a chair and ran him out the locker room. I'm like, how dare you come in the locker room and see me over there with gauze in my mouth, and you don't acknowledge me. So rest in peace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he pick up the bill for your dentist trip, or I was just kidding?
No, but he did an event in Boise years ago, um, I think it was back in 2006, and I ran into him, and he did buy me dinner. So
Oh, that's
There
nice.
you go. There you go. Well, you mentioned everybody feeling taller and faster and just really athletic with their handle and everything else. It sounds like the first time we played the Boise Flight in AAU. And we're like, who are these guys? Everybody's huge. Everybody's good. So I can't imagine the level of getting to the NBA and then still feeling that, right? It's crazy how with basketball there's all these different levels of how good everybody is. So a lot of people remember you as a New York Knick, right? Brett and I are donning our Knicks gear. Good
An
to see
honor.
them. Yeah. Brett's a huge Bulls fan, by the way, and I'm a big Jazz guy.
This is
So
actually a really big step for me, Chris.
yeah,
uh-oh, uh-oh.
yeah. Hey, Tip, you have a lot of ties with your Bulls,
Yeah.
but we want to know who was your favorite teammate, and it doesn't have to be from the Knicks, but who was your favorite teammate while in the league?
With Charles Oakley, we're good friends. John Starks, we still communicate. I'm going to his golf tournament next month. Uh, Vince was, he was my neighbor in Toronto. Mo Pete, Alvin Williams. I had some really, Dale Curry. We were together in Toronto and saw his son, the rise of his kids, because Steph, Seth, and my son Jesse would come and shoot baskets after practice together. And these kids were knocking down 3-pointers with their left hand at 10 years of age. It was the most incredible thing you could ever see in your life as a basketball enthusiast. So, yeah, I had some great teammates, Kenny Anderson in Jersey, Derek Coleman. That New Jersey Nets team was probably the funniest team ever. Me coming from the CBA, coming from Boise State, discipline. This team was undisciplined as I've ever seen. We would go through shoot around. These guys were just coming in from the night out. They got beepers on. They're checking their beepers through the walkthrough, and I'm sitting there like, what the heck is going on? Oh, it was unbelievable, unbelievable team. But a lot of talent that was on that Nets team. That was a year after, rest in peace, Drazen Petrovic died
Mm.
over in Europe in the car accident. So I don't know, maybe those guys are still feeling some kind of way, but that team was crazy.
Hmm. Yeah. Is there a current NBA player that you wish you could have the opportunity to guard, and how would you try to stop them?
Oh, I want to guard all of them. Shea, Kevin Durant, LeBron. I want a piece of all of them. And you would have to guard them, differently. Of course, LeBron's 6'9", 260. Uh, but if I was able to play him in my era, then I would have a better chance than playing him in his era because you can't touch him. But a lot of these guys are phenomenal players. Skill level is off the charts. So I would lick my chops at opportunity to play against a lot of them.
Yeah.
So, Chris, if someone had never seen you play, they never pulled up the highlights on YouTube, who would you point to as a comp for yourself today in the league?
Uh, I mean, there's a lot of good defensive players out there that I've watched. Patrick Beverly, Lou Dort from OKC.
Mm.
I was a Russell Westbrook fan when he was in college.
Mm.
I knew that he was going to be something special. They had Drew Holiday, they had Darren Collison, and they had Russell Westbrook, but Russell stood out more than anybody. I love his fire, the way he competes. Um, I thought that I competed at a higher level as well. But everybody's different. I just see myself in a lot of the defensive minded players in the league today. I think I shot the ball better than a lot of the defensive guys that I brought up. When I first got to New Jersey, uh, that's when I averaged the most points because I had the neon light. When I got with the Knicks, it was hard. The first year I averaged 12 or 13, but Patrick needed the ball more. LJ needed the ball more. Allen Houston needed the ball more. And then when Spree came, he needed the ball more. So I had to change my game because the ultimate thing is to win. I'm a team player. I could have said, no, I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing. I even went to the bench to help the team out, which I still regret to this day because I worked my butt off to get my name called as starting for an NBA franchise. But being the unselfish player that I was and I'm still am, I sacrificed my own personal goals for the betterment of the team. And we still had a good run, but it hampered a lot of my desires because in '97, without the strike, I would have been in All-Star games as a three-point shooter in the contest. So after that, then I went to the bench. I didn't get the looks that I would usually get as a starter, and it kind of uh, pushed me back a little bit. But that's my only regret.
Yeah. So if you were a free agent, you're still a player, what team are you signing with this summer based on their roster construction, people you want to play with?
It would probably be I got to go with my Knicks first. After that, it would Houston would be one. Miami would be one. And the Lakers would be one.
Okay.
Oh, and Dallas.
Yeah. Those are great picks. Can't argue any of those. That's for sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't get much time in OKC. So
It's a tough lineup to crack for sure.
well, I played defense, so I would get out there.
Yeah, that's true. They would love that. That's a good point. Well, you survived the press. Good job. You made it past half court. And now we're going to head to the next segment, which is called The Long Road to the League. And, as we had mentioned before, you went undrafted out of Boise State. And instead of saying, hey, you know what, I had a good college experience and it looks like the pro route is really, or the NBA route, I should say, pro can span across overseas or the CBA and different things. You continued to work and you continued to pursue that dream of making it to the NBA. What was your mindset in pursuing a professional basketball career despite not getting drafted? What's going through your head?
Well, I had a chip on my shoulder. When I didn't get drafted, I went into probably a little bit of a shell for maybe 30 minutes. I went in my room. I had a pre-draft party in Boise at my apartment at the time. Family was there, and my name didn't get called. I know why. From some other guys that got drafted, it was a rumor. Someone started a rumor that I was a partier and I didn't take the game serious, which was untrue. Because when I was at Boise State, I stayed in shape. I was in the best shape out of anybody on the team. I ran the fastest 40. I ran the best mile. I stayed after, always ran the bleachers. And so when I didn't get drafted, everybody that got drafted in front of me, I put their name on a T-shirt. And I cut off the sleeves and I wore that under my jersey everywhere I played, from working out in the summer times in Bakersfield, Boise, when I would go to different teams to try out. I was drafted by Rapid City and I was traded 4 days after I got there. Went to La Crosse, Wisconsin. So it was with the Muscle. I went to the Musselmans. From the Musselmans to Flip Sanders in La Crosse, Wisconsin. They had all tall guards, 6'5" and over. So I was 6'3", so I got traded from La Crosse after a week to Rockford. And so that's when I started my journey. And even after all these trades, I still had that shirt and I had something to prove. But it took me some time to realize, after I went to John Lucas, that he said, you can play the game, but can you demand from other men what you demand from yourself? So I didn't know how to be a leader of men. I knew how to play, but I didn't know how to be a leader of men. And that comes from if I throw a pass and it hits a guy's hands and it goes out of bounds, you can't have him feel like it's his fault. You have to take onus on, okay, I didn't hit him in the numbers. So if I make a facial expression, his demeanor is going to be down. His attitude is going to be down. So I had to learn how to control my emotions on the court. Some people you can yell at, some people you got to tap them on the butt because that's, some of them are sensitive that way. So I didn't learn that until the 5th year that I was in the CBA. I went home to Bakersfield, went to a buddy of mine, and I said, hey, I want to live in the gym for 3 months. I said, I'll sweep, clean up, but I'm gonna bring a cot in here and I'm gonna wake up hour on the hour and work out. So if I went to bed at 10, I woke up at 12, shot 1,000 shots. Go back to sleep, wake up at 4, shot 1,000 shots. And then when the gym would open at 9, I would get up at 8, take a quick shower, sweep the floor, put my cot back in the closet, and open the gym for them. And then I would go and do some things, work at the gym, work out. Gym closed, I'm back in there doing that again. I did that for 3 months straight to get myself mentally ready and physically ready. And then when we went back to my team that I played for, I wanted all the NBA executives to see that I knew how to run the ball club. And we ended up winning the CBA championship. And that's when the New Jersey Nets came, and they still only offered me a partial guarantee. That pissed me off.
Mm.
I'm like, damn, I won the championship, showed that I can run a ball club, I can win, and they offered me a partial, which was 75,000. It was half of 150. So when I got to New Jersey and David Wesley was the backup, I told him, I said, hey man, if you're not ready, I'm sorry, but I'm taking your spot. And he looked at me and he couldn't get the ball across half court because I was so in shape, I was so strong. And people, guys at Boise, I was benching 345 and squatting 560. I was just so Coach Jensen used to say, I can hear the power in your dribble when you would come down the court. And so when all these things were said about me, I used it as fuel. And when I got to New Jersey, there was no stopping me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. So we were going to ask, like, what helped you stay motivated in pursuing that continued pursuit through all those adversities? But it sounds like it was the encouragement you got from coaches about who you are, and then also it was sort of that these guys made it over me, and you kept that shirt. How long did you keep that shirt? I'm curious.
I still have it.
Oh, you still have
It's
it. So
it's
awesome.
I have it in a box in my shed, and I had to vacuum seal it so it wouldn't rot out. But I still have it. It's probably gray right now because of all the sweat, sand, and dirt. But I still have it. But I don't have to wear it. It's in my heart. You know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
I started from the bottom and worked my way up, and that's why I tell kids that I mentor and I train that I don't care what a coach says or what a friend says or anybody. You have to have self-motivation and self-belief. And if you believe it, you can achieve it. So go out there and make every day count. Don't cheat yourself. Don't have one bad day effort-wise. You're not going to always play the perfect game or make all the shots, but you can always get out there and work. So do not waste a day doing that. And that was just me. I didn't want to go back home. I didn't want to let myself down. And I was chasing those guys that were drafted before me. Everybody that was drafted from. That's why Tim Hardaway, Dana Barrows, all those guys, I was after them. And every time I played them, even though, well, I don't like Tim, but Dana, we're friends. Uh, I would see him, I would shake his hand and like, sorry, but you're gonna
Yeah,
have a hard night tonight. And
I
then
love.
afterwards, shake his hand. But hey, I have something to prove, and I will go out there and do it at each chance that I was able to be on the court.
Well, it sounds like you bet on yourself continually. And then when adversity continued to come, you were ready because it was nothing new to you and overcoming it. So that's really cool. And for you to go into the gym, lock yourself in there on your own rather than someone suggesting that, or, it sounds like you knew what needed to be done and then you were man enough to go get it done. So
Yeah,
that's really cool. I want to take you back in the time machine for a second here. It's January 20th, 1996. Brett and I are playing Nintendo and I'm playing with action figures. I won't tell you who's doing which of those things. But you were going off for 30 points, career high. Do you remember anything from that night? Can you take us back?
I think we were playing Minnesota,
I believe so. Yes.
the Timberwolves, Terry Porter. Yeah, it was just one of those games where things weren't working uh, the way we thought it as a team. And I think that was after it was a back to back,
Mm.
and guys were missing shots. I think they went out the night before, and I didn't. I stayed in because back to back games they're tough
Yeah.
on the road. And so I hit my first shot, and I was like, dang, my legs feel pretty good. Came down, threw the ball inside to Patrick, I think on a 52, a 25 with the two guard screens across for the center. He comes to the post, throw it in. He shot another fadeaway like usual and missed it. No, I'm just kidding, Pat, if you're watching. I'm just kidding. He'll be mad at me on the 8th when I see him in New York. But he missed it, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to take over this game. And so I'm like, I got Terry Porter. I'm like, he's not quicker than me. And so I kept him in the pick and roll, and they kept sagging, and I kept knocking them down. So I hit my first 5 shots, two threes, and two mid-range and a layup. And then they started blitzing the pick and roll, so I would pass it. It would come back to me, and I wouldn't take any time, and I was just letting them loose. And so I remember that game. I had, I think I only missed 2 shots, if I can remember correctly.
That's great.
And I
Um,
think it was 30. I think I had 30 and 38 and 7.
Mm,
so
solid.
going from like the CBA where you help lead a team to a championship, then to the NBA where you kind of become a very a role player. You play defense, you shoot threes. What was that change in mindset like for you? Like what changed in your approach from going from maybe being a primary option to being a very valuable piece to a title contending team when you were in New York?
It was several things. One, just my unselfishness as a player. I've always been that way. And then going to Boise State playing the 1 and the 2. I started off as a point guard, and then Doug Usatello came. I went to the 2, and then Michael Pearson came, and I was still at the 2, but I always had the point guard mentality. So when I got to the league, and then I had the green light, neon lighted jersey, came to New York, had the same like the first year, but we weren't having that as much success. So everybody had to change their game, and I had to change mine because the amount of shooting and power that we had on the wings, that these guys needed the ball in their hand to be uh, more effective because Sprewell wasn't a spot up shooter. He was a slasher driver. Allen Houston could spot up, but he was a slasher as well. Larry Johnson was a post up guy. Patrick was a post up guy. Charles Oakley was a pick and pop guy. Marcus Camby was a slasher, rebounder, lob guy. So I had to figure it out. And if I were to continue, shooting 15, 6 to 17 shots a game, those guys, as opportunities were diminishing, we might not have been as successful. So uh, the adjustment of playing the game that way wasn't as hard as me going to the bench.
Mm.
Mm.
That was more of an adjustment. than changing the way I needed to play the game to be able to distribute the ball more than score as I did in the past.
Is that mostly because of ego or because you feel frustrated in that, like, if I was out there, I know I can make these plays. I know I'm going to impact the game. And I can't remember, did Charlie Ward at the time come in?
Yeah, we switched spots because he was
Yeah.
there before I got there. And then I came in as a starter. Then Jeff and I had a conversation and I went to the bench, which I shouldn't have even had that conversation. But
Yeah.
it wasn't an ego thing. It was, I'm still out there auditioning because I want a new contract as well. So am
Yeah.
I going to get the same amount of minutes that I was getting when I was a starter? Because he said, well, you're going to finish the game, which I did most of the time,
Yeah.
but still during the important times of games, I felt like I should have been in there. I'd never take anything away from Charlie. Charlie was a great player, but I still think I added more
Yeah.
to to offer the team. I can do certain things better than he could.
Yeah.
And he could do certain things better than I could. No, but in certain situations, I thought that I should have been out there a lot more, but it wasn't my call. I'm not the coach, but I do remember one game I checked myself in. I didn't even wait for Jeff to say, "Hey," I said, "Look, enough is enough." I got up, went to the scores table, checked in. Charlie, you out, man. Jeff
Uh,
wasn't happy. He wasn't happy, but I didn't care. Like, hey,
oh, man.
you paying me to play, not to sit.
That's right. That's right. Well, Chris, we wouldn't be doing our jobs if we didn't ask, and feel free to say if you don't want to answer the question, but I'm sure you get asked all the time about your confrontation with Kobe and what happened that night. And if you want to speak to that and just give some context, like, that's great. But if not, like I said, we can move on. It's up to you.
Yeah, Kobe, rest in peace, was a great competitor. All right. And I'm a competitor as well. And so just to kind of cut through it and go forward. When you're playing a game of basketball as a point guard, if your two guard shoots the ball and his defender takes off, the point guard's responsibility is to get back and get his guy. And then you yell, "Hey, get mine, I got yours." And so that's what happened. And so we got cross matched and we're running down, and everybody in the NBA and college, high school, preschool run. It's a play called floppy, where the two and the three are down low and the four and the five are up top. They screen down. You come off both sides. Reggie Miller made his career off of that. So I'm guarding Kobe. So we're going around the screen. I'm a defender where if I get on you, I'm going to force you one way. I'm not going to allow you to go back and forth and have my head on a swivel. I'm gonna either get on your left hip, on your right hip, and force you that way. And so that's what I did. And when I go through a screen, I'm either going to run through a screen or I'm going to make myself smaller and arch my back to where you can only hit a small portion of my body. If I turn this way, then you're going to have a larger portion to aim at. And so I got small, went through the screen. I, nudged him out, to get through. He hit me with an elbow. I'm like, okay. I'm okay with elbows below the shoulders, but when they get above the shoulders, that's not going to fly. And so I say, "Hey, watch those elbows." He said something I can't remember. Like, "Oh, shut the F up," or whatever. Get down there again on offense again. Allen shoots. He takes off. Cross match. Second time. So I'm like, all right. We're in LA and I got family in the stands. I'm like, all right, he do this again. I'm gonna have to take it into my own hands. So about a couple plays later, same thing. So we're running down and he pops me. And I remember the referees, Tim Donahue, Monty McCutcheon. They were both with me in the CBA. So I look at Monty. I say, "Hey, and he gives me the emoji shrug. I'm like, okay, I got this. I say, "Hey, man, I told you." And then so Kobe's 6'6". So this, if you can see, I'm this much shorter than him. So if you watch the tape, I walk up to him and I put my forehead on his chin and I do this. And he hits me with a little chicken wing. And as he hits me, I'm already in my mind getting ready to take off. And so as soon as it was contact, it was just, you know, I didn't want to hurt him. I could have really put a hurting on him, but I just wanted to let him know, look, young fella, I'm not the one to mess with. And so when I hit him, everybody's, well, what's his name? Andre Ward said that I snuck him.
Mm.
And I told Andre, I said, I don't know where you're from, but sneaking somebody is hitting them from when they're not looking. He was looking. And so I also was taught when you get into a fight and there's multiple people, back up and let everybody get in front of you so you don't get snuck from behind. So I'm bagging up and I see LJ pushing Ron Harper, who's a good friend of mine, and Ron didn't know what to do. And I see Patrick and Shaq pushing Patrick, and I know Shaq's not going to do anything because him and I are friends, and him and Kobe weren't getting along at the time, so I knew he wasn't going to intervene. And so, I go, I get everybody in front of me, and then they break it up and they kick us out the game. But the thing that pissed me off is when you get into altercation, everybody wants to talk about it. The team, oh yeah, and you're talking about it, but nobody said anything when they put that pink slip in my locker, and I got fined
Oh,
a 2-game suspension for 250 grand,
Oof.
and nobody was talking. Hey, let me give you this. So when you get into the altercation, you have to go to the league office to sit down with Mr. Stern. So so I go in. I got on shorts, flip flops, and I don't care. I got a polo shirt, and Mr. Stern David, he's so cool. I mean, he just he's he leaks confidence, the way he is, and so he's about 5'6", 5'5", glasses on, and I walk in, he's sitting in his chair, he's looking at me, he's like, "Mr. Childs, Mr. Childs." I'm like, "Yes, Mr. Stern." He said, "I never thought you would get into a fight, but let alone Kobe." I said, "Mr. Stern, I don't care if it was my mama or my daddy. If they hit me with an elbow, I'm fighting them too." And he just started busting out laughing. And he said, "Look, this is what I'm going to do." He said, "If you don't get into another altercation the rest of the season, I'll give you 80% of your money back. 20% goes to charity."
Mm.
And I sat there. I said, "Well, I don't know if I can take that deal because I got Tim Hardaway on my hit list and Michael Jordan because we got into it as well." But I took the deal. If you look at a game against Chicago, Michael hits me with an elbow, and I throw the ball at him, and he charges me, and I square up, and he stops in his tracks, and I'm like, "Dang, I'm so glad he stopped because if I'd have hit MJ, I probably would have got suspended for life." So
Yeah.
I never got into any more altercations after that.
Well, hey,
well,
we appreciate you revisiting that, and
Right.
that's some awesome context, right? I think there's so much you just see in a split second, and that context just helps paint such a clearer picture for sure.
yeah,
Yeah, it's tough to talk about because Kobe and I never really had a conversation, but a lot of his teammates I'm friends with, Derek Fisher, like I said, Ron Harper, uh, Gary Payton, who my son Jesse is married to his daughter, Raquel.
Mm.
Mm.
They always told me that Kobe always said he had a lot of respect for me because I stood up for myself, but it was him challenging a guy that had already been in the league and had already been through some things in life that had me, well, made me who the man I am. I stand on principle. I don't play dirty. I play physical, and if you get dirty, then this is what can happen. But I don't like people fighting, to play a game, but sometimes you have to defend yourself, and that's what I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a great story to wrap with. But thanks for your time, Chris. We loved having you on, and nothing but the best of luck for all you're going on, all you have going on in your life. And Tanner, did you have anything you wanted to close with?
No, just again, appreciative as well. Really good to get to know you. It's fun that we have some Idaho ties and we could talk for a while. We've got some good stories about Bora High School and your son
Yeah.
Jesse, who we got to play against, which is really cool. And just in signing off, is there anything that you wanted to promote? I know that there's a charity that you represent and do some work for.
No, it's just basically when I do these things, I like to tell people just to continue to give back. I work with kids, mentoring, training. Always love to get back. And just in society today, we have to get back to loving other people. It's easy to love yourself, but love others. The world we live in today is all about negativity. There's a lot of good things on social media, but there's also a lot of bad things on social media. Um, we allow politics to cramp our mind at times, which we shouldn't. Um, we live in a beautiful, kind world where we're able to do these things, have these conversations, make money on the internet. Start giving back to the homeless is bad. I do stuff with the homeless people. Just get back to opening doors for women. We have to be better as a country and as people and as Christians.
Yeah. I love it. I totally agree. We can always do better and be better and encourage each other to do the same. And sounds like a big summary for your story is accountability, both with self and others, and hard work. And we got nothing but respect for you and appreciate you coming on. And just wish all the best for you and your family going forward, Chris.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys. Anytime.
Yeah,
Anytime.
have a
Yeah,
great one.
absolutely.